What's up guys, Brandon here with Cloud Vision Pro, and today we're going to be learning how to character rig. Now this is a tutorial you should be following only if you have a beginning experience with 3ds Max. I'm not going to go into full detail step by step, but it's something you should be able to follow if you've used 3ds Max in the past. What we're going to be character rigging today is Kyle Katarn from Jedi Knight Jedi Academy. And the reason why we're starting with the lower end model is because, well, that's the best way to learn, is starting out with a easier model to rig and then start moving to a more advanced. So this is a basic understanding of how to character rig. We're going to go ahead and begin and catch you guys on the other side. Alright, let's go ahead and import our Kyle Katarn model. We're going to go wherever you place the folder at. And don't forget the project files will be in the link where you can download it from Mediumfire. Alright, we're going to go ahead and import all this. We're going to worry about the materials. We're not going to even cover materials today. This is just basic character rigging. I don't want to draw off too much attention. Okay. Hit skip, close. Okay. The reason why we see most models like this is because it is called a Da Vinci model, Da Vinci pose. You'll see most models that way because it is for rigging. Basically, we're going to be making this mesh move, right? We're going to apply bones and give this life, right? We're creating something. Pretend you are God. Okay, that's a joke, but anyways, we're going to go ahead and hide his shoulder pad and his utility belt. Okay, now we just have his basic body, the most parts that are going to be deformed, such as the joints, legs, boots, everything. Okay. Now what I went ahead and did is I dragged the model down to the Z line, so we have a plane of some sort, a rough grid we can work with. Okay, now what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to select the whole model. I'm going to go to right click and select object properties. I'm going to hit see-through and freeze. Now the reason why I want to do that is because we don't want the mesh moving at all when we're applying the bones. It's going to be a lot faster and quicker, you'll see. Okay, let's go ahead and go under the Systems tab. We're going to select biped. Alright, we're going to go ahead and go to the top view and we're going to pull up. And that's fine right there. We're going to go under the Motions tab and we're going to select figure mode. The reason why we're selecting figure mode is because we're not animating right now. We need this guy to be set to figure mode so we can give it the bones a pose so it knows what pose it needs to be in to apply the bones to the mesh. And basically it's editing the biped, so to speak. Okay, so once you hit that, you're going to notice you lose all those other tabs. Let me go ahead and show you. See, you have keyframing tools, etc., etc., twist poses, bends, leaks, layers. Once you select figure mode on, all you have is copy, paste, bend, links, and structure. Now structure appears because you're going to be applying the bones, height, how many links, etc. So let's go to structure and let's check out our left view. Let's go ahead and change it to height. About right there is good. You want the, usually what I base it off of is the chin. If the chin is almost in the same vicinity, that's pretty close. Okay, we're going to go ahead and move the biped diamond back. Make sure the diamond is selected. It's the blue thing in between the hips, which you see right over here. Okay, so let's just select that so you can see it. Boom. And usually it is always named as BIP 001. It has no actual bone name. It's just known as BIP. So imagine it the center mass, the what moves him up, up, down, and then left to right without the bones moving. Okay. Now we want to make sure he is centered off pretty well in the center. So let's take a look. Let's move that a little bit off to the right. That looks pretty good. Alright, let's start with his hips. We're going to go ahead and scale it. I'm going to switch the reference coordinate system to local because I want it to scale the way the bones are. Instead of view, I mean, if you've used 3ds Max, you should understand what view in a screen world and all that means. So we're going to select local. Okay. we're going to widen his hips. And we're going to also give it a little bit more depth. So we just scaled it on its z-axis and then we pulled it up on the y-axis. So now it's a little bit more filled, as you can tell. Alright. Let's start with the right side of the legs. Oh, and also, let's go ahead and work on the structure real fast. As you can see, he has no fingers or no toes or anything like that. So let's go ahead and work on that right now. I'm going to change the spine links to 3. I'm going to give him 5 fingers, of course. 3 links, because, well, you have 3 different parts of bone in your fingers. And then for toe links, we're going to select 1. We're going to have 1 toe and 1 toe link, and you'll see why here in a second. Okay. Alright, let's go ahead and move his foot. I'm using the move tool right now. And we're going to scale the hips down just a little bit. About right there is good. Okay. So essentially you want the bones to line up inside the mesh. If not, fill it in, if that makes sense. Alright, we're going to scale that on the z-axis, and we're going to pull it on the y. We'll move the foot back just a little bit, about right there. Okay. Now, we're going to work on his calf. Let's go ahead and scale it the same way we did on Z. Remember, I am on local coordinates. The reference coordinates are on local, just a friendly reminder. Okay, let's go ahead and work on the thigh. Same thing. We're going to widen it, give it the length on the y-axis there. There we go. Now let's go to the toe link. Now the reason why I selected 1 toe link is because, well, you know, when you're walking, your shoe creases at the tip, and since he has no real toes to rig, I mean, we want that crease, right? So we're gonna give it some depth there, maybe widen it a little bit more, but right there is good. Alright, now since we got the right side done, let's go ahead and work on the left, and I'm going to show you something really easy. We're going to double click on the right thigh twice, and on the side we're going to go under copy and paste. We're going to pull that down, okay, and under copy paste there's going to be a create collection. It looks like an asterisk icon. We're going to click that, and then it's going to create a collection 01 by itself. You're going to hit copy posture, and then you have a few selections here. You have paste posture and paste posture opposite, and it's quite obvious we want it to paste on the opposite side, so we're going to hit that, and there we go. Now we have the other side pretty much done. Normally you will sometimes have to edit it because not all meshes are symmetric. Let's take a look. That looks pretty good. That's as good as it can get right there. Okay. Now we're going to work on the spine links. The same thing. We're going to scale it. You want to start from a certain part of the body, either, you know, from legs onto the abdomen up to the neck, or vice versa, from the head down to the feet. Reason being is because you want to give a sense of take your time with it, because, you know, if you're everywhere at once, you know, you're gonna have a completely really weird, messed up model, and it's you know, it's just gonna make things a little bit more harder for you. Okay, so let's go ahead and continue. We're gonna do the second spine link. Want it to match. We're gonna fill that in. Get a little bit of width. Same thing with this. Now we're not going to worry so much on the top section because our top half of our body never really moves that much. Alright, let's work on the shoulders. Now the cool thing about the shoulder links is they do move, so we're going to go ahead and move it. I'm using the move tool right now, and we're going to start with the right side again. Lower that, put it about right there. I'm going to rotate it, make sure you're on local. Right there. Let's move the arms. Right there. I'm going to actually move this a little bit. And that looks pretty good. Alright. I'm going to rotate the shoulder back just a little bit. And now we're going to start working on the bicep part. So let's work on the upper arm. Same thing we did with the spines and the legs. We're going to fill it in. Alright. And now on his forearm, we're going to move this back a little bit so the palms can match up. Now the palms are matched up just a little bit. Okay, this is going to be essentially the same thing. It does take tedious time to do the fingers. So let's go ahead and select local. I'm going to do the thumb, and then we're going to continue on from there. The thumb, just like any of the other fingers, can move the same exact way like the shoulders. Okay, you can move on it. You can virtually move it anywhere. You can move it on the cross side of, move it on the other side of the body, and it. I mean, if you assign the bone to work that way, it would work. So let's go ahead and work on that. Line it up as best as possible. Rotate it. Okay, let's strain the other bones out right there. With that right there. Okay, let's go ahead and scale it. Fill the thumb up. About right there is good. We're going to go ahead and move this down just a little bit. Move this down just like that. Okay, I'm gonna move it just a little bit. I mean, as you can see, everything just takes tweaking. Okay, so I just showed you how to do the thumb. Okay, I use the rotate tool, I use the moving tool, I use the scale tool. So let's take a quick glimpse on what we already have here. Now look, we already have the right side of the body pretty much. I mean, we have everything done pretty much almost. Okay, so what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to cut it right here. I'm going to go ahead and let you work on the fingers on your own, which isn't that hard at all. So you know what, I'm going to go ahead and work on the index finger with you, and then we're going to cut it from there. Okay, so I'm going to switch to the move tool. I'm going to move it. Let's go ahead and move these other fingers out of the way so we can see. There we go. I mean, since we're moving them anyways, that will be fine, what we just did. So I'm going to go ahead and rotate it down. Now as you can see, you can tell that, you know, the bones need at least 3 links. Just by looking at the mesh, because you can see the creases on them. Okay, so we're going to rotate it like that. You want to, remember, you want to match it as best as possible. That is the only way that your rigging will come out decent, because this is, I mean, like I said, this is almost a form of art in itself, and it does take a lot of time. It does take practice and patience. Let's go ahead and scale that like that. That's pretty good. Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and cut it from right here, and then we'll meet back here in a second. So just make sure you work on the right side of the arm first. Let's get all the fingers lined up, and I'll see you guys back here in a second. Alright guys, welcome back. I feel like Martha Stewart right now because, you know, within one split second I was able to finish the hands, but I actually did rig it myself, and it took at least 10 minutes to get it the way I wanted it. So alright, so let's look what we have now. So we already have the right side of our body done. Now we need to add to the left side, and this is where it's very nice and easy. Okay, just like we did with the legs, we're going to copy the posture and paste it to the other side. So we're going to double click on the shoulder link. Okay, now everything is going to be on this side. It's going to be selected, including the fingers, everything up into the scale. It is going to copy the exact way. So everything that I copied is going to set up on the same exact side on the left, and it's going to be scaled the same exact way. So let's go ahead and hit, since we already created a collection, we don't need to do it again. Okay, so we're going to hit copy and make sure paste posture opposite. And wow, we saved ourselves probably about a good 15-30 minutes. Now as you can see, you are going to have to adjust a few things. The palm is not completely lined up, so all we got to do is move that down right about there, and wow, we're done. That's all it took. That is pretty much it. Okay, so let's start working on the upper part, which is the neck. Okay, go to the neck. We're gonna put it about right there. We're gonna go ahead and work our way to the head. We're gonna scale it up on the X and pull it on the Z, and pull it on the Y a little bit. And let's take a glance at it. Wow, if you got this far, congratulations, because you just finished yourself the posing part of rigging. You haven't even got into the second part. Okay, so we got all this done. So basically what we did, let's do a quick overview together. We lined up our bones, we scaled them, we made them pose directly with the mesh, and now we have ourselves bones that are posed with the mesh. We can't do anything yet because we need to add a modifier now. So let's go ahead and work on that. So what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to leave the bones alone. We're going to go ahead and select unfreeze all, because that is what we did, was froze the mesh. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to hit H for selection. I'm going to type in BIP, and I'm going to hit hide selection real fast. I'm going to select all the mesh parts. I'm going to go ahead and go back to object properties and unclick see-through, and now we have our Kyle Katarn back, no longer transparent. So this is where it starts getting kind of fun, and again, a little boring and tedious. You have to approach this with, if you have no time on your hands whatsoever right now, I would take this slow and, you know, use this tutorial as a guidance and not be in a rush, because this is something that as much as the faster you rush, the more terrible and harder it's going to get for you. Okay, so let's go ahead and unhide our BIP. So I'm going to go ahead and hit unhide by name, type in BIP, and everything's going to be there. Now this is what I'm going to hit F3 so we can see through, and this is what it looks like right now. I mean, it looks pretty cool. Okay. Now, we need to add the bones directly onto the mesh now. We got it posed, but now we have to make it where it works. Because if I move the bones right now, let's try moving the right forearm. I mean, nothing happens at all, because we need to add the modifier onto the mesh. For the 100th time I have said it. Okay. We're going to go ahead and select OK. we're going to select all those. I hit H and I selected all the parts. And how you can tell between the difference between bones and a mesh is just look at the icon on the left side of the selection window, and you'll see a circle, which is a circle object, and then you'll see the bones, which have like a bone link figure to it. Okay, so I selected all those. I'm going to go under the, with everything selected besides the bit, besides the bones, I'm going to go under modify. Now there are two different modifying tools or ways to skin or rig or physique model. Now if you go under physique, from what I understand, this is an older form, an older method of character rigging. By far, at all means, I do not like it. This is what I started out with, and this is how I learned, and I hated it. It deals with envelopes just like skin, but you can actually assign vertices on skin. Okay, so physique, all it deals with envelopes, and it's really, 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 really crappy. I do not like it. I used it for about a year, and then I switched over to skin once I realized how much easier it is. And from what I understand, they use skin quite a bit on, game developers tend to use Skin or Bones Pro. Okay, so it's either physique or skin. They're almost essentially the same, except they're different in a lot of ways, if that makes any sense at all. They do the same function, but they're different. They're just different. So we're going to select skin. Okay. Now on the right side, we have nothing. I mean, it's virtually nothing. All this is probably like mumbo jumbo to you, and we will go over it shortly. Now, as you can see, there is envelope here, just like physique. I'm not going to even get into that. I don't even know why I'm telling you this. So let's go ahead and completely brush that off. Under the parameters section, you're going to see bones. Next to it, you're going to see add. We're going to hit add. Okay, and there it is. All the bips right there. All the bones that we just worked with is all right there. So what we're going to do is I'm going to hit bip under fine. It's going to select all of them. Okay, and I'm going to hit select. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and click off of that, and let's take a quick look. Let's go ahead and move his right leg, select the bone, the right foot, and there we go. Wow, it's that easy. We now have ourselves a rigged model. Okay, let's go ahead and check out the spine. Let's move his body. There we go. So now you have yourself a rigged model. Now you will know if you didn't rig properly, and it happens all the time. I mean, if you're experiencing it right now, I bet some of you guys are like, well, what the hell, I'm having this weird mesh being pulled, one staying in position. And then we're going to go over that shortly, reason why. So say it's not happening. It may not happen because it's a lower end model. But say, for example, the tip of this collar right here. Let's say the tip of this collar right here, when I move his body, it's dragging out. Maybe some of you guys are experiencing it right now, but it's completely deformed. It's like stretching. It looks like something's holding a piece of clothing and it's just like stretching. Now, this is where it starts coming into play. The tools, that everything that you saw on the side. So we want to get back to that. Now this is how you're going to have to navigate. You don't necessarily click on the bones to start editing the vertices and the actual rig itself. You're going to select the mesh. So select any part of the mesh. You're going to go to the modify tool, and you're going to get back to where you were. Okay, so each and individually of these parts have the skin modifier on them, as you can see. So, the right arm of the mesh, which is here, has the skin. Okay, the body portion, the torso, has the skin modifier tool on. I mean, you catch the drift, right? Okay. So, one thing I want to go ahead and start with is let's take a look at his face. I'm going to move his head around. See how it gets scrunchy and it stretches? Our faces don't normally do that. Okay? One of two things is the reason why it's doing that is, one, the envelope isn't strong enough. It's not reaching the full parameter of the face. And I'm going to show you what that means. So we're going to click on the head mesh, which is head. The body part is head. We're going to hit edit envelopes. And once we hit edit envelopes, we're going to select vertices, and then we're going to select that part of the bone. Okay, you're going to see this little line dash right here. You're going to select it. Or you can select by the name of the bip of the bones, which would be head. So click head, and notice what happens. Now we have ourselves a weird looking, it colored completely. Now the reason why it's showing these colors is because it stands for deformity. It's showing how strong it's pulling the part of that mesh. It's telling you, what it's reaching out to, what the essential bip head bone is deforming. So this yellow right here, that means it's going to give you a slight pull. It's not going to move with the bone completely. So what we're going to go ahead and do, we make sure we have vertices selected, and then I'm going to select his head right here. Now notice how all the vertices pop up. Now this is all the vertices just for the head portion. Okay, so under weight properties, with normalize selected, actually we're not going to select the full part, we're just going to do up into the chin. Okay, so I'm going to select about right there. Don't select the neck, just the face. Okay, I'm going to select weight properties, and I'm going to move it up to 1. This means it's max. Notice how the yellow's gone now. I'm going to move this down. See how it changes color? The red, and the more red it is, the stronger it is. Okay. So now, when I move the head bone, it should be a little bit better. It's not deforming as much on top around the face. Now we need to do the head face part now. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to select edit envelopes. We already have the head selected. Now we're going to select all the vertices. Okay. Notice how there's some yellow in there. Okay. We're going to change the weight effect to 1. That's the highest it can go, and that's the strongest it's going to be. So let's take a look now. Now the face is no longer deforming. You see that? The face is no longer making this weird scrunchy face, because we have you want to look at your own features. Like when you look at your arm bending, nothing, the only thing that's kind of really getting deformed is the middle part, the elbow, the skin. It stretches. Our face doesn't stretch, very weird, so you're gonna have to edit portions of the body. So let's look at another example. I'm going to move the arm. See how the arm looks pretty decent. It's not that bad. See how it creases right there? We can completely edit that and make it look smoother, where it doesn't look so, it doesn't look like a real arm deforming. You can change that yourself. It takes time learning this. Okay, let's take a look at the feet again. Okay. Now the feet look pretty good. The legs, everything looks pretty well deformed. Okay. So everything that I just showed you, this is a basic way of character rigging. You can get more in depth by just reading the tutorials straight off of 3ds Max help tool itself. Let's move the arms a little bit. Let's see if we have any discrepancies. See? This is not that bad at all. Now you see how this middle part right here is deforming a little bit. Every now and then it will deform more and crease in. It won't look natural, and that's when you're going to have to edit the vertices. You're going to have to edit the weight. This is why I like skin, because you can completely. Let me show you another example. Okay. We're going to work on the right arm. Okay. Let's go ahead and hit edit envelopes. And you don't have to select the bone. You can also select these little lines right here, and it will work what you select on. Okay. So you have to make sure, though, you have to be careful. So if you select, say for example, you select the spine and you start messing with the weight properties and you actually have right arm selected. Well, now the spine is going to tell this right arm, well, you're assigned to me. So let me show you what would happen. So we have this arm selected. Say you started editing the arm thinking you have the right bone selected, but you actually have the spine selected. You move it up. Now watch what happens. Let's take this off. It's no longer moving with the arm because you have it assigned to this spine. See how it's now moving with the arm? It's because you have it assigned to that specific bone. So you have to make sure you know what you have selected. So that is just a quick overview of how you'd go about rigging. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to leave a comment below. You know, rigging, it does require a lot of time and patience, and you know what, let's just go ahead and do it. I want to go ahead and add the materials to this, just because. So let's go ahead and hit, you know what, we're gonna change it up. We're gonna make sure this tutorial says slight texture tutorial. So we want to texture this model, and all the textures will come with a pack. So let's go ahead and hit M. I'm going to use the basic 3ds Max texturing material editor. I'm using 3ds Max 2011. So we're going to go ahead and select. Let's clear this off. I don't know why that's going to diffuse. Okay, so we're going to hit diffuse. Ignore all that. Those are my own errors. We're going to select bitmap. Okay, just go under the folder that you have it in. Okay, first one we're going to start with is Kyle legs. So you're going to see Kyle underscore legs. Select that. Okay, go ahead and select the legs. Hit assign. Well, ignore that. I don't know what. I know why it's doing that. Give me 1 second. Okay. So I'm going to select a different slot there. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and hit Kyle legs. Let me see here. I don't know. Okay, there we go. I'm not sure why the color is coming out that way. It just is. Let me see here. Well, anyways, so we went ahead and selected legs. Let's go ahead and add our boots textures. I don't know if it's the same. Let me see here. Legs may define the boots as well. There we go. So now, as you can see, the texture for legs is for boots. We're going to go ahead and get into another slot, put a bitmap, and I think I know why mine's coming out black. It's because it's the recording tool. You're going to select Kyle underscore torso. You're going to select his torso. You're going to hit assign. Maybe not. I'm not sure why it's coming out very dark. It very well could be because of the recording tool. Okay, so we're going to hit assign. Assign. And assign. And assign. Cool. There we go. Okay. Let's go ahead and select his collar. Assign. Alright, now we're going to do his face. Select another slot. Hit diffuse. Bitmap. Select Kyle face. That's going to be the front part of his face. We're going to hit assign. There we go. Now we need to do his full head, so we're going to select another slot, hit diffuse, select bitmap. click Kyle_head. It's going to do his hair and neck features. Let's go under one more. We've got the hands next. Bitmap. And we select basic hands. I guess he's wearing gloves. I don't remember him wearing gloves in the game. I think he does. Yeah, that's right. Okay. Now I'm going to go ahead and hide this selection right here. I'm going to add his mouth and eyes. Diffuse, bitmap. Mouth and eyes. Assign. Boom. Now we're done. Now, before you go, I hope no one's left yet. This is a pretty extensive tutorial. Let's go ahead and unhide by name. We're going to unhide the bip head. Do not, I haven't forgotten about the hips or the torso shoulder pad. I will show you why we did that later, okay? Now, I don't know if you can tell, but his eyes are getting really weird looking. It's because we didn't, look, here we go. Look at his eyes. His eyes look all bugged out and weird because, you know why? I didn't assign what bones it needs to be assigned to. I didn't specify the strength or anything, so I'm going to show you how to do that. Hit H. Let's look for, see how it says head, eyes, underscore mouth. We're going to select that. We're going to select the edit envelopes, and then since we only have that portion selected and we make sure we have the head bone selected, we're going to highlight all those. Now you're going to see the vertices pop up, and then you're going to change the strength to 1. Okay. Now his eyes do not move as much. His eyes shouldn't even be moving at all. So there we go. Now let's go ahead and hit unhide all. Now the reason why I didn't want to do this with the rigging is because I like to do it this way. Since this is an object, it's not an actual body part, it's an object. Think of it as a real object. I mean, it would deform in a sense, but to me it just saves time, and it's a utility belt. I mean it's a utility shoulder pad, it's a utility shoulder belt. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select parent tool. It's going to be from child to parent. I'm going to select the right arm to go under. There we go. And now we have the shoulder pad moving with the arm perfectly without having to rig it. And the same thing with the belt. I'm going to make sure that it attaches to the waist bone. So we're going to select that, and we're going to apply it. You know, you could apply it to either the spine or the hips bone. Doesn't really matter. So we're going to apply it. Since we'll apply it to the waist bone, and let's take a look. You know, we're just going to apply it to the spine, the very bottom spine, because if you are moving quite a bit of the waist or the spine, it's going to move. See, there we go. And that, my friends, is how you go about creating a rig. If you made it this far, you should give yourself a happy dance by putting the rotate tool on the spine and doing this, or maybe a quick rock out, because you are awesome for making it this far. Now, as I said, if you have any questions, leave some comments down below in the section. This was a really long tutorial, and if you made it this far, give yourself a freaking pat on the back, because this is not easy. Not everyone can do this. It takes time. It takes a lot of time, and you know, trust me, doing a tutorial takes time too. You can also check to see if you rig the fingers pretty well. Just go ahead and select the palm, double click it, and all the bones on the palm will be selected, and it looks pretty decent. So clutch a fist because you are awesome. Give yourself a pump fist. And anyways, This is Brandon with Cloud Vision Pro. If this is your first time coming across my channel, why don't you go ahead and hit that subscribe button, where I frequently upload visual effects, animations, tutorials, free stock footage, things like that. CGI, computer graphics are my thing, and I love it. I do it for fun and a passion. So if this is your first time coming across my channel, if you're learning 3ds Max, come here. This is where you can learn. I will be starting another basic tutorial learning 3ds Max for simple starters, beginning starters, things like that. So anyways, I am tired of talking. My mouth is dry and I'm ready to drink something to drink. And anyways, I'm Brandon with Cloud Vision Pro, and I'll catch you guys on the other side. Peace.